I am Chief Tom Hackney with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. I'm Chief of Detectives. 3:15 this afternoon, the Sheriff's Office responded to the Hyatt Hotel here on Coastline Drive in reference to an assist call with the hotel security folks. They had called the police and fire department in reference to a male who was on the second floor who was being combative and had approached and accosted two female employees in the back of the house area. Immediately before that, he had actually been seen on the 6th floor and had accosted and entered a female guest's room, disappeared from there, and then reappeared in the back of the house area on the 2nd floor. As he accosted the two female employees in the back of the house area, two male employees grabbed to detain the male, went to the floor, and held him for approximately 10 to 15 minutes until fire rescue and the police arrived. Once fire rescue and the police arrived, the officer who was first on the scene handcuffed the individual. Fire rescue arrived moments later, checked the status of that individual, instructed the officer to remove the handcuffs. The officer did. Fire rescue then transported that individual to an area hospital. That person is now in critical condition at a local area hospital. That male was nude at the time he accosted the female. He only had a t-shirt on when he accosted the female on the 6th floor. His identity is not known because of his nude status. We don't know who he is. He is a black male, hard to tell the age, and there's no other identifying marks that would lead us to know who he was at this time. We conducted an investigation. We're in the process of conducting that investigation to determine what may have happened over here and what went on from there.
When he was handcuffed, what was his status?
At the point in time he was handcuffed, he was compliant. The officer asked him to put his hands behind his back. He responded by putting his hands behind his back, allowed to be handcuffed. Fire rescue came in there, again, moments later, checked his status, asked the officer to remove the handcuffs. The officer did. Once the handcuffs were removed, fire rescue loaded him up and transported him to the hospital.
Was he standing or laying down or kneeling? What was his position?
At the point in time that we put the handcuffs on him, he was laying down.
Was anybody kneeling on him or?
The individuals from the hotel, there were two back of the house employees that had restrained him, and they were in the process of somehow restraining him and holding him down until fire rescue and police arrived.
Why were the handcuffs removed?
Because fire rescue, in order to treat him, asked us to remove him, so complied with them and did.
Was there some indication he wasn't conscious at that point when fire and rescue arrived?
Again, when we first arrived to put the handcuffs on, we asked him to put his hands behind his back. He was compliant, did, responded by putting his hands behind his back, allowing us to handcuff him. Again, moments later, as fire rescue came up, in order to treat him properly, asked us to remove the handcuffs. We did, and they transported him.
What were they treating him for?
Just for the fact that he was being non-responsive at that point in time. Again, things were happening fairly quick. Once they arrived, leaving the medical treatment to them is what we did.
So he may have passed out or something like that?
I wouldn't even begin to assume that.
So it was between the point in time where he was detained by the two back of the house guys, and then the police arrived and handcuffed him, and between the time that he was handcuffed and the fire and rescue arrived is when you believe he was non-responsive? He was responsive at the time he was handcuffed?
He was responsive to us at that point in time, and shortly thereafter became unresponsive, causing rescue to ask us to take the handcuffs off, which we did, and they transported him to the hospital.
Were the officers aware that he was non-responsive, or?
They were aware that he was responsive when he responded to their instructions. We backed off after they asked us to remove the handcuffs so they could treat him, and kind of step back and let them do their thing and take over from there.
Can you elaborate any more on his interactions with the females at all? Was he attacking them? Was he?
He had walked into, again, this is in the back of the house area, not an area open to the public. Walked into that area. They had seen him in the back of the house. Were actually going into that other area to report what they had seen to two other employees, the two employees that helped detain him. As they were reporting that to him, he entered that same room, lunged at the females to grab them. The two male employees grabbed him and restrained him.
So he actually didn't make any physical contact with him?
I think they intercepted him before he was able to.
How about the woman on the 6th floor? Was she a guest of the hotel?
She was a guest of the hotel on the 6th floor. She opens her door to exit to go get some ice. He's right there in front of her door. She kind of steps out of the way. He enters her room, walks around her room for a second, and then turns right back around, exits. She reports that. And again, as things are being reported through the hotel, he must have exited and gone into the back of the house downstairs.
Did many people see him running around?
Anybody see him in the room?
Like, see him running around? I mean, obviously.
Well, just
a lot of
the
witnesses.
individuals that were involved, the lady on the 6th floor and the people in the back of the house. So.
And the woman on the 6th floor, he entered the room and left again. He didn't attempt to injure her.
He actually didn't even really say anything to her. She opened the door, he was there, he walks in, kind of mills about, and then walks out.
He was
So,
partially nude at that time.
at that point in time, he only had a t-shirt on. So, any other questions?
Are the hotel employees trained on how to restrain someone in this type of situation?
I wouldn't have any clue what training they may or may not have.
They were not security. They were like cooks or something.
They
to
were
that
just
effect.
back of the house stewards, I believe. So, okay. No other questions? Thank you all very much.
Thank you for your time, sir.
Yes.